Alright folks, so I had done a video previously on this A9L. This computer, I've never run this computer. It was actually factory sealed, never been opened. So I don't know how this computer operated, but while I was checking it out and making that video, I did determine that one of the capacitors was leaking and had some corrosion. So I'm going to go ahead and just change those capacitors today. And I kind of want to show the steps on doing maybe at least one of them. Now for these capacitors here, you can get these usually anywhere. The specs on these ones, so this is a 47 microfarad 16 volt radial capacitor, and you're going to need two of these, and then you're going to need one of these 10 microfarad 23 volt radial capacitors, and these are 105 degree rated capacitors. So that's all you need. These are, usually you get these in bulk because it doesn't make sense to order just one. But they're still relatively cheap. You can find kits on the internet and such. But I'm going to go ahead and open this up, and we'll find that suspect capacitor, and we'll get to changing that out. Alright, so in order to get into these, you're going to need a T15 and a T8 Torx bit. And the T15 will be for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then you'll use the T8 on these two screws on the sides. Here's the ECU opened up, and there's three capacitors here. 1, 2, and 3. This one right here in the end is the suspect one. And I'll see if I can zoom in, but it might be a little tough. The legs here are what is the issue here. I think this one on the left is a little bit corroded. It doesn't look very good. The other two seem to be okay, but I'm going to change them out anyway. Now, this one here, I'll put this down so I can get some orientation here. This one here and this one here are the 47 microfarad caps. And this one here is the 10 microfarad cap. Now, it's really hard to test capacitors when they're installed on a board. In fact, it's impossible unless you have a meter which is known as an ESR meter. But I guarantee you 99% of you watching this do not have one of those. So you really need to take the capacitors off to test them. But we're going to assume all three are bad and just replace them anyway. I'm pretty sure this one is bad anyway. But I will pull them off. I will test them. This is an LCR meter, which again, probably most of you won't have. But a lot of multimeters will do, will measure capacitance. But we'll see what exactly we get with these three units when I take them off. But I'm going to set up to remove this one here on camera. And you'll notice that this board is covered with a very sticky substance, which is going to make removing a little bit tricky because you have to remove that substance to desolder it. Alright, so I've gone and gently scraped some of the residue off the two capacitor pins here. You don't want to go too crazy and damage the board or risk damaging a trace or the actual solder pad. But I wanted to remove this kind of gel film that was on the board. So all I did was on top of the contact where the solder joint was, just simply gently scrape it off. And it doesn't take much pressure to do that. So we're going to use a basic cheapo solder sucker. And we're just simply going to come in here and start to warm up the pad. And then once it starts to melt, simply come in, suck the solder out. Rotate this around. I don't know how well you'll be able to see this. All I'm doing is heating up the solder. There we go. And you might have to repeat this a couple times here. You can see now that the pin is actually getting loose. Let me zoom out. So we have most of the solder removed. I'm going to gently wiggle this out while I heat up the two pins. Now this side looks like it actually came off without the pin. So I'm pretty sure that one side here is broken. But I'm having a little trouble with this one leg. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to finish this up off camera to remove that leg here. But I've got some of the solder removed. It does appear that one of the legs is broken. So I'm going to go ahead and just remove that. Alright, so I was able to remove it. The legs tend to be bent at a V. In other words, bent outwards. So what I had to do was just gently bend the legs inwards, and then I was able to desolder it and pull it down. So what I usually do here afterwards is I'll come in here, heat the pads up, and then remove the solder that might be remaining from the holes. And then once that's done, you can come in here with a soft brush, this is just nylon bristles, and clean up the residue. But those are through, they're clean, and they're ready for the new capacitor. Now, if you're wondering how to tell polarity on the capacitor, usually there's two ways on the capacitor. As you can see, one leg is longer than the other. That leg is always positive, so the short leg will be negative. But also on the barrel of the capacitor, there's usually a stripe here. And that stripe, as you see, has a negative sign, will signify the negative side of the capacitor. Now on this board, just to simplify it, your negatives are all pointing to the left in this orientation. But an easy way to tell, and if I can try to zoom in here, is that you'll note on the pads, you have a square pad and a round pad. Your round pads will be your negatives, and your square pads will be your grounds. And as you look at all the other capacitors in here, it's hard to see here, but they do have that sort of feature here. So your round pad is your stripe side of the capacitor, which is your negative, and your square pad is your positive. But if you were to hold the board in this orientation here, with your connector up, all of your negatives are on this side, all of your positives are on this side for the three capacitors. So that's probably the easiest way to reference it. So what I've done here is I've passed the capacitor through the two holes here. Now this is probably a decent position here, it doesn't need much adjustment. But as you can see, this is what I do with the legs to kind of hold it into position. And you can kind of tweak this just by pushing it in slightly and spreading the legs. And it'll help hold it in place while you solder it. Now I like to use the back of the case and simply install the board upside down. And that gives you a decent area for working here. Alright, so I've gone ahead and soldered two capacitors in place. Now I will admit that the residue that is on this board does make it a little bit tricky to solder. You really have to do a nice job of clearing that away from the area, otherwise you just won't get the heat to the solder pad and the solder won't flow. But I think I've done a decent job with these two. I'm going to go ahead, I've been prepping to install the 10 microfarad unit right here. Let me go ahead and get that in place. So let's see what we actually have for values on these three caps that I replaced. They visually looked okay. I've seen much worse. I do have one cap that was suspect, so let's test them and see if they actually, it was bad. I'm using a Fluke 117 multimeter. It's a pretty good multimeter if you're looking for one. It does pretty much most of what I need to do in terms of vehicle diagnostics, resistance, continuity testing. It does capacitance as well. It does hertz, frequency. It's also a voltmeter. You can actually put it on this, touch it up to here, and it'll tell you if you have voltage. It's a pretty good meter. I'm going to set it to capacitance. Put that where you can see the display. And this is the 10 microfarad unit. And that does appear to measure right around 10 microfarads. So this one here is pretty good. I'll show it up close in a few minutes. Here's one of the 47 microfarad units. And this one measures open, so I don't get any reading with this one. And here's the other one. So this one's measuring right around 47. So it looks like two of these were good. So this 10 and this 47, and I'm going to zoom in. those were good. And you can see that the tops look pretty, don't have a whole lot of bulging. Let me see if I can get some lights. But the bottoms do look a little bit bulged. And here's the bad one on the very top. I see a little bit more bulge in the bottom. The top looks good, but not much of a difference between these three. But the top one is definitely bad. So I bet the reason this ECU was sitting on someone's shelf is because it was having some issues due to that one bad capacitor. But it should be okay now because I've got the 3 new capacitors in here. So that's it. I have this all assembled, ready to be tested out. So really, I wanted to make this video to kind of show the general procedure for replacing the 3 capacitors in here. Now, if you're like me, sometimes I like to just see how something is done, see it walk through before I dive into a project. I never like to go in there blind. So if you are comfortable with component level soldering, I'd say that the trickiest hard part of this whole thing is that particular residue that's on the board. Some of them may have less than others. I don't know if they're all the same. But what I had to do was I had to frequently clean that residue away from the area I was soldering. With the residue in place, it made it really difficult to get the solder to flow properly. So you just have to maintain a clean working area when you do that. But other than that, as someone who's done a lot of this sort of work, that was relatively easy to go through. And as you can see, these 3 caps visually looked pretty okay. Really only reason I changed one was because one had a suspect looking pad. And I thought it was corroded, but as I found, the leg was actually fully intact. It wasn't broken, but the capacitance was bad internally. So I'm glad I didn't rely on just a visual inspection. I went through and actually changed those. But anyway, please proceed at your own risk here, working on a computer. These do get quite expensive. So if you're not comfortable at all doing this sort of repair, I would recommend sending it into one of the companies that's currently rebuilding these. They typically change the capacitors as well as a few other components on the board, which I'm not going to do here in this case. But I am going to throw this in my car, test it, and then if it seems to be okay, put it back on my shelf and hold it as a spare for now. But I appreciate you watching, and thank you.